Hi everyone, my name is Victor. I am the Advantech Senior Channel Manager for UK and also Ireland. Very glad to see everyone. So there will be two key differentiators between a rugged PC and also commercial grade PC. One is longevity and the others is revisions control. So right now, if we look at the data sheet in the websites, I would say the specifications between rugged and also commercial grade PC, they are more alike. But what the data sheet didn't tell us is that there are some massive differences between revision control and also longevity, which carries out a very important elements when the equipments are being deployed after 1 year. Longevities, Advantech can, I would say 90% of the hardware can supply 7 years, where commercial grade will be 2 to 3 years. And to fulfill that 7 years longevities commitments, the logic behind system design, BOM options are very, very different from commercial grade. To fulfill 7 years longevities commitments, the logic applied to system design and also BOM options are very, very different from commercial grade PC. At the same time, we also work closely with Microsoft Embedded OS just to make sure that our platforms can be stable and also provided in a very long period of the time. And in terms of the revision control, what we're going to do is we will pre-notify customers when there are changes under key components or BIOS and also firmwares, so that customers have the sufficient time to accommodate those changes to their applications. These two differentiators, again, longevity and also revision control, will greatly reduce the engineering efforts for upcoming 2 to 7 years when the rugged PC are being deployed. Alright, so every industry have its own challenges for sure, and let's take automation industry as examples. I was at PPMA in September, and I realized that the key vendors, including Siemens or also Schneider's, they are able to deliver a very solid solutions. However, I feel like their technologies or solutions are still very, very proprietary based, and okay, so I'm probably not the best person to describe that these proprietary features, will bring what kind of impact, to industry in the longer terms. But for now, at this moment, for me, I would say the challenges, to industrial industry is the high cost because of that. And so maybe the automotive or food and beverage giants, yes, they have the budgets and investments plans, to do the digital transformations. But what about the small or medium scales of the enterprises who are still very important, in the economies and desperate for digital transformations, to remain competitiveness? So I would say Advantech just bought these challenges in automations industry. And our CEO, Casey Liu in Taiwan, had this vision to deliver the hardwares following the automations industry protocols such as IEC 61499. And we also work very closely with codices to transform the traditional PLC to PC-based soft PLC. Another example, to cope with these challenges is our software called HMI Navi. So our panel PC on the top of HMI Navi are able to support the protocols compatible with 400 or more, PLC drivers, just to make sure, digital transformations and also data visualizations are easy, to be implemented in the production line. In terms of the hero products, for emerging trends, due to the decentralization features in the IoT architectures, the discussions relate to remote management, also monitoring, and network securities have been rising. And Advantech have implemented those key features into our hardware. So let me give our edge computings, we call MIC or MIC as examples. So the MIC computers is embedded with IBMC and also device arm. So it can facilitate the remote cross-platforms, monitoring and also edge cloud management. So IBMC is a hardware solution, just like ARM-based controller. So it's a subsystems independent from the main systems. And the device arm is the cloud-based software, which we can monitor the BIOS details. So with IBMC and also device arm, the MIC computers can be monitored and also managed in band and also out of band. In terms of the network securities, take MIC as example again. So we can work with customers to create secure boot, BitLockers, BIOS guard, or create the separate ID for individual devices, or other approaches to enhance the system safety. I would say these features are very important, and they are the typical examples how the hero products are made. Just like Iron Man, all the hero product needs to be constantly checked its own status just to make sure it's always safe and also secured in the field. So how Advantech is responding to the emerging trend? I would say our strategy is to leverage our leading role as the biggest edge computing manufacturers and work very closely with our chipset eco vendors, including Intel's, NVIDIA, AMD, NXP, and etc., to deliver time to market and also reliable platforms. Let's talk about AI. Advantech's current business has very little to do with ChatGPT, but we are leading the games in the field of edge AI. So what does edge AI mean? A perfect example will be a mobile CCTV placed in the transportation sectors, so in the highway, in the intersections, where graphical processing, or by AI definitions, we call training, will be taking place in the field or in the edge. And to have these reliable platforms, the systems and also the collaborations, with NVIDIA is extremely critical. And our partnership and also businessship have been growing, and we also design in a few iconic edge AI transportations, projects, in USA, Europe, and also UK. And throughout this journey, we also build up a local ecosystems with ISV, with system integrators, just to make sure we're not just responding, but we're also leading this emerging trend. Well, the exciting news for Advantech is, to bring the concept of modularities into our product portfolios. In the IoT architectures, there are 4 key layers: collect, connect, compute, and also create. So we need sensor I/O to collect the data in the field, and then the cellular routers or Ethernet switches to connect or transmit the data, and we have the edge computing to compute the data and make the meaningful data being created. So Advantech is one of the few manufacturers in the world who are able to deliver the hardware across 4 layers with modularizations. For example, we need the I/O sensor node. We have the I/O channels and also wireless protocols supporting Wi-Fi, LTE, LoRaWAN, and etc. For switches, we also have the modular design, so customers can pick up whether it's RJ45, fibers, or AC/DC power supply to configure their own Ethernet switches. And for edge computing and also servers, it's quite common, to have that modularization in place in the product portfolios. So I would say the concept of modularizations probably will create a paradigm shift, just to echo back to the vast varieties of IoT hardware requirements, so that we're able to deliver the hardware time to market, reduce the pricing of the lead time to accelerate digital transformations.